Muy buenas, flauteros y flauteras, bienvenidos, bienvenidas a un nuevo vídeo. Hoy tenemos una nueva una entrevista que estoy seguro de que os va a gustar muchísimo, muy interesante. Tenéis un buen rato de entrevista, pero creo que merece absolutamente la pena. Vamos a estar entrevistando a Egor Egorkin, picolista solo de la Filarmónica de Berlín, un tipo que ya sabéis que tiene unas redes espectaculares en las que nos cuenta un montón de consejos, nos cuenta un montón de cosas súper interesantes. Y creo que hoy, en la entrevista de hoy, esto estoy grabándolo justo después de haber hecho la entrevista, nos cuenta un montón de cosas que creo que os van a resultar súper útiles y que son súper enriquecedoras. Así que nada, os dejo con la intro y vamos con la entrevista.
So welcome everybody. We are here with Egor Egorkin, if I say in a good way, I think.
Almost, Egor Egorkin. Yes.
Great. So thank you so much and welcome to this interview. He's solo piccolo of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, and yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here in this interview. We are going to begin with the first question I always make. That is, how did you begin in music?
Basically, I started with piccolo flute. Oh no, block flute. Sorry. Piccolo flute was the last instrument I learned. And I started with block flute as most of us, I think, woodwinds. When I was 5. And after 1.5 years, I, of course, moved on to the big flute because at some point it had to be big flute, right? And my mom, she just brought me to the music school, and I wasn't so inspired there. I said, let's try something else. And then she brought me to the, so to say, Palace of Arts, where there were different clubs, and there were like a plane designing club. I like planes as well. And I wasn't so inspired as well, so we came back to music school, and that's why I play flute.
That's right. That was, which city are you from?
It's a relatively big city. It's a regional center. Its name is Tosno. It's near St. Petersburg. Yeah, it's quite big actually for measures, like 40,000 people live there.
That's big for me. I come from 10,000 cities, so it's big. It's big.
Yes.
And how did you begin with piccolo?
Piccolo was,
Or after that came the flute, I think. Then
yes, flute, and then only in 2007, 6, I think, I started in Weimar. And in 2007, I had a couple, like half a year with Benjamin Plak in Weimar, and he basically taught me everything. And after coming back to my studies in St. Petersburg, because I had a break to have a year in Weimar, 1 year. And after my studies in Weimar, I came back and got a real job in State Capella in St. Petersburg. It's the orchestra with choir. So it was quite a dive for me, from student life into professional life. Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. 2.5 years. It was amazing.
And you played piccolo there?
Yes, I started immediately as a solo piccolo, and I gained my first steps experience exactly there in St. Petersburg.
And in this moment, you focus 100% in piccolo?
I will.
You change also?
I knew I will be a solo piccolo. I understood that it works well for me with my embouchure and how I like to make sound. immediately liked more piccolo when it just it is so open, and so how should I say, not sparkling, but it's quite exciting when everyone hears you all the time. So I really like the experience.
And yeah, you have a lot of experiences, I think. But which is the most curious thing that has happened to you in your career as flautist or as musician?
Curious.
Yeah,
curious.
Funny or something.
Funny.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. Ooh. There were not many funny episodes, or I can't really take them from the surface.
Yeah.
Let me think. Should it happen to me, or that I know that it happened to somebody?
Yeah, can be.
I've heard about person, a solo piccolo who had he kept his piccolo inside here in the inner pocket. Of course, most of us find other places like hands or whatever, and basically it was fourth Tchaikovsky, and he was sitting for 2 movements like every piccolo does, and kind of hibernating, waiting for the
Yeah.
for
Always like 90s with Owen also.
yes. But the time when third movement come, there was no piccolo because he had a hole in his pocket, and it fell through the
Outside the stage.
No, it's in the lining. It was in the front, but it fell down through the pocket. I think it's funny, but at the same time, I find it horrible.
Yeah. Of course.
Just 1 second. I think my microphone is a little too harsh. I think now, like this is
Here.
yes, good. Just I see recording will be very on the line.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So it's a very, this experience I could not have it. That's horrible. Yeah. Oh. At the same time, it's funny.
Yes.
Okay, and which advice would you give to someone who is just starting to play the piccolo? I know you have a lot of advices on your Instagram account. I will put it here. But for all the people from Spain and Spanish people or Latin America people, I will put the link here. But could you give an advice to all the people?
Don't give up.
Okay, yeah, that's
First thing. Even first time when I took my piccolo, there was no sound. I just had an instrument, I tried, and I couldn't produce a tone. So maybe first thing is to learn your instrument and use what you have. Don't dream about something better. Maybe it will be better. Try to use what you have and squeeze all the everything you can from the instrument you have, because basically even the student instruments, they're made quite well, and you can learn how to do things with even limited and not so fine made instruments still.
okay. Even the cheapest Yamaha can work.
Yes.
And works well, I think. It's a good instrument.
Yes, and maybe find out which tones are out of tune. Always with tuner, it helps, so that it can be predictable what to do. That's the easiest thing. It will be more fun to play than when it will be basically more in tune at first.
Great. And do you think that piccolo gives more possibilities to reach a off?
I'm sorry, I didn't got that.
Do you think that piccolo gives more possibilities to reach a off, to won a position, for example?
I think so, definitely, because if you are a very good piccolo player, then you will definitely get a piccolo position, solo piccolo. In case if you are good piccolo player, but you also play flute very well. So there are better chances you will get second flute. And second flute, or how you say this in English? I don't know. I know in German, but where you can
Say it in German.
where you can yes. When you can exchange with you can play either first flute or second or third. So there are better chances to get a job for sure. 100% true.
Which one is the most difficult passage you have ever played with piccolo?
That's a cute one. Ooh. Let me think. Some pieces were very challenging technically that I had to, so to say, mechanically put them inside my fingers. But embouchure wise, sometimes it's challenging, but it's still, when it works, it gives pleasure, right?
Mhm.
So I would say one of the most challenging places are actually the ones who are emotionally connected with me. So I would say Shostakovich, basically all possible solos. I find it's not hard or so challenging. I mean, technically they are fine. You can manage it. Everyone can play them, but I try to really live through the music. And I think, let's put like this: 10th Shostakovich is the one. I find this solo very, where two piccolos. I think I'm right. I think it's 10th. If I'm mistaken,
I don't know if it is.
I think yes.
I don't know now.
Now I'm really confused. I will look later. But
Okay.
let's say this solo I find quite challenging because it's it demands on very, very precise attention to basically every tone, even the connection between tones, and it's not so technical. Technical things are quite easy, but control of the breath, mental preparation, this I find really energy wise more interesting, more intense, and not interesting but very intense, harder, if you want to put it like this.
That's very difficult. And also to control the emotions playing, maybe also.
Yes.
Okay, and which piccolo melody is the most beautiful you have ever played?
Oh, wow, such a nice question. If not me, I don't know. We need to ask people, of course, but I liked couple of melodies. I think Mahler has the most pleasing melodies for piccolo, one of the most pleasant. I will throw a couple, okay? Shostakovich also, definitely, had wonderful solos. And as a melody, I think, yeah, self-sufficient are, yeah, Shostakovich, 7th.
We will put maybe some links with.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay, great. And what do you think about alternative fingering on piccolo? Do you use it? And how do you use it?
Constantly. I basically, find them. So first of all, I use them. Second, I find them very important to know and to use, to find out your own, for your own instrument.
Yeah, it's very important.
Find what works for you. For example, I used, there is a rim on the piccolo on the end, and for the highest A, you can put finger on the rim, and A works, a really high tone. But for example, there is a trill of G-A. In Mahler, he used it a couple of times, and I was wondering how can it be actually more or less good sounding with my piccolo, because I couldn't just overblow and make them with second octave fingering. So I basically had to put this fourth finger up, move those two fingers, this on the G key, so G, A, and because the nerves are closer here, so I can synchronize two fingers better than those two. Yes, but this trill, I don't know if you cannot even say that it's alternative fingering because you have to switch hands.
Yeah.
But it works.
Alternative hands.
Alternative hands, yes. And it works, and G-A, in this case, for me, sounded actually acceptable. It's not G-as, which you achieve with this. Yes, it's clear G-A. And this fingering, it's uncomfortable.
I will try because this trill is always very tricky. Always, like I try this moving three fingers or two, I don't know, it's very difficult to synchronize. And
try. So you put the fourth finger up, move it away, and then second finger goes on the position of the fourth, and this on the position of second. So you basically move a little bit, try pinky, and then find with whistle tones where to aim, and here you go. It works. Clear, very clear trill.
Very good advice, I think. And we changed a little bit. And how does it feel to be part of one of the most prestigious orchestras in the world? And do you feel pressure sometimes, or always, or never?
At first, I would say, first concert, I understood, whoa, where am I? Why? Rehearsals are so relaxed and funny and chilled, and in the concert, it's a quite intense feeling. The air gets thick. Everything is so it's so intense, this feeling. Of course, I had different experiences with other orchestras, but there I felt, of course, not pressure, but somehow demanding on me playing beyond my limits. Sometimes really beyond the limits. And this at first it is, of course, energy wise it drains out a lot, but I find it's very satisfying in the end after concert. It's very, very good feeling, and of course it's very intense, and I don't know if I can. It's definitely changing through years. So how it started, it was one feeling, then later while I was in academy, and then I moved into the orchestra, got a position, and we have 2 years basically of testing. 2 years of testing. After 2 years, you're good to do your art, so to say. You are really like more basically you are more free, right? So you can experiment, you can try out things. Of course, shout out to people who do this in Probit side, but for piccolo position, I had to really be more to say, so to say, quite conventional, but
Controlling your
controlling. Yes, controlling. Not too much. Good, but not too much. Yes, and in Probezeit, after a couple of years, after Probezeit, it's this testing period, I felt that I want to continue experimenting and trying out things. That's why I started actually the channel, because I found out many different solutions and funny ways to play, and they worked for me. And I had doubts, right? I was not sure if they work just for me or they will work also for somebody else. So out of curiosity, I started the channel, and that's why I'm happy that it helps.
Yeah, it helps. I follow you, I think, since you have 130 people on your account, I think.
Thank you so much.
I'm one of the first. I'm very proud of that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's nice. And what do you love more and less about playing in the Berlin Philharmonic?
More or less. I like the sound of orchestra. How deep and at the same time immersive surrounding. And since I sit in the middle, I horns, I think I like this position, flutes here, and this is so direction wise very contrasting, right? And I love exactly the sound of orchestra. I have some examples to compare to. What I could say that I don't like the pressure, and I don't like this itchy buzzing feeling of maybe it can be called stress, but I actually accept it. At least I accepted it more than a couple of years, a long time ago. I'd rather say that I know that it exists. I actually understand that it's sometimes not healthy, but this kind of stress is a huge part of the process itself. So you need to be taking and giving. So this how life, I think, in this case works as well. So I'm taking the wonderful colors and this magical sound of the orchestra, and I'm giving, of course, some gray hairs as the no, but sorry. I mean, it's okay. The stress, it can either be really too much for somebody, and I can understand that. I accepted this. I would say, if you're asking me this and this, like and don't like, these are two things.
Okay. Great. And what was or were, for example, yesterday, the most exciting moment you have ever experienced with the Berlin Philharmonic?
Yesterday? What was the
most? Yesterday or I don't know. Past years.
Okay. I remember I have an answer for that. Quite intense. I felt we had a Song of the Earth in Salzburg, long time ago, 2013-14. It was my one of the most, because it was I was at the beginning of. Yes,
you began in the Berlin Philharmonic which year?
2013. 2013, yes. It was my official end of my testing period, and I started as a part of the orchestra. I find the most epic and the most exciting highlight, definitely highlight, is that a pick dam from the last opera we did. Singers just beyond my imagination, beyond everything I heard. Really, how even stage I found amazing, really amazing. That this synergy of music prepared in a I can say so concentrated way that really we squeezed every minute out of every rehearsal. We did everything possible to make the music work, all the characters and the changes. So music, staging, singers, everything came together, and it was definitely a highlight for me. Last opera we did.
Different. And you are doing now a great didactic job, as we thought, on Instagram, also TikTok. How has been this new experience with social media for you?
At first, when I saw my first video, because my wife is actually, she's a producer. She is a director, producer, and manager of entire social media for me. And at first I said, when I saw my first video, I said, please delete it, never show to anybody, close the account. That's it. I was very critical. But then I understood that it helps, because when you are in yourself, in such a bubble, it was really hard to get out of the bubble. But first steps, they take the most energy, the most courage to do. First steps, couple of steps. Like I found out today that when rocket starts, first minute, it wastes the most amount of fuel, because you need to get through the gravity. So getting away through this gravity of myself and my own critic did exactly the same. It took me really a while to start. Ooh.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I must say, I hit something like you, not with thousands of followers, but it's the same thing. Always when you must talk for a camera or something like that, it's very demanding in the beginning. Yeah, good. And what advice would you give to other musicians who want to start using social media to promote their career and connect with the audience?
Nobody will take your place, ever. Every person is unique, and if you are a classical musician and you think about getting into social media, but you have doubts, of course, everyone has, there are so many, but there is no one like you. This is what I would say. And it would be so nice so exciting to see thousands and even more than hundreds of thousands musicians who share their life as a classical musician. It will put our industry of classical music on a different level, just because of this small step of everybody a little bit getting over their own criticism about themselves and having self-doubts. That's what I can say. If you are double thinking, please just post the video, send it to me, and start it. Do it, definitely, because this is how world is getting really not just connected, but building communities which are which are developing even branches of our huge industry of classical music. Yes, so it's not just a tiny piece, everyone. It's very important, unique piece of puzzle which is missing. And until person will start this, the account, it will be always missing.
Very nice. Yes. And have you experienced this question? It's I don't know how to say, but have you experienced any kind of viral effect on social media thanks to your musical career or your work in Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra?
Viral. I got COVID last year. I mean, if it's if it counts as being having viral effect, but actually, I think the most funny video got. I need to check, but maybe it's around 300,000 views, maybe even more now. I need to check, but this is I consider it being actually hitting through the roof, because when I compare with other videos which are like 50,000, it's almost tenfold. So
Okay. And what would you say? What would you say to someone who has never listened to classical music before and is interested in discovering this type of music?
do it. Do as much as you want. Not overwhelm. Maybe it's better not to use it as a background, because this kind of music demands listener with attention. Even the ones, I think, even the composers, like very minimalistic composers, they did such a special step to a little bit to the side from main academic way, so to say. But the classical music and so to say academic music is so different that you can always find something which you will totally fall in love with. And it's like looking and researching. This is the way. And of course, Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Shostakovich, they are so epic for entire human history that it's gonna be fun. Yeah, definitely.
Great. And last question, and after that we will do the Instagram questions. How do you see the future of classical music in the coming years?
It will definitely be more available online. It will definitely be more immersive. Technologies are changing and they are getting very accessible. You can get a pair of headphones, just a small tiny earbuds, and you can be immersed into the concert hall. Just because it is nowadays easy to count distance from the membrane of headphone to the eardrum, that you will have this feeling that you are in the concert hall for real. It's not just stereo. I think this is a way for classical music. Well, digital concert hall from Berlin Phil, they already are preparing this system, the Atmos, it's a Dolby Atmos standard. We have Dolby Stereo, and Dolby Atmos is the new way of using your equipment. And if you have TV, they probably will have already new TVs and even older ones, 1-2 years old. They have Dolby Atmos inside, so you don't have to buy multiple speakers. Everything is calculated, and even with one speaker, sometimes you can get this wonderful effect. This way, I think that sound-wise, classical music will improve and be available online more.
Also in the digital concert.
That's for sure. It is already. It is already.
Okay.
It is already, yes. Immersive audio, yes. I'm working on my album since more than 1 year already, and I still record the instrument. I decided to continue with recording. And I think that this immersion, when you have a room and placement for all the instruments, and they are not fighting against each other to be, I'm the main. No, I'm the main. No, they really have a placement, and this technology helps to keep the wonderful differences between instruments and not make compromises for sound.
What are you recording? You can say it, or is secret?
No, no, I don't. It's Vivaldi concerto for the C-dur, concerto for ottavino, but piccolo. It's the most famous Vivaldi concerto, yes. And I just decided to make a version of my own with after visiting Venice. I fell in love with the city because it's very close to me, to my mind. I grew up studying in St. Petersburg, where water and stone are connected substances, yes. And it's called Northern Venice, that not without reason. That's why I fell in love with the city of Venice, and I felt this immersion that it will disappear, under waters in I don't know, 100 years or so. And this was a very intense feeling. It was very inspiring, and I decided the first thing I can touch on, which is connected to Venice, was the C-dur concerto.
Great. So we go with the Instagram questions. Yes. Thanks for all the people who made the questions. I have selected 4 questions because there was a lot, and we have now a bit of time with the interview. So first question: balance in daily practice between piccolo and flute if you want to specialize in piccolo.
Definitely practice piccolo separately. So not just taking flute and then switching to piccolo. You will need to practice more piccolo separately, like 1 hour, for example, just piccolo, isolated from getting into the flute sound. If you are into it, if you feel that the solo piccolo is what you really want to do, then concentrate yourself really at least half time of your practice time only for piccolo. And separated that sound-wise, you can get into small details and find out what is different between flute and piccolo. And this is the first and I think main advice. Yes, use earbuds if you are studying something very loud, like Shostakovich. Don't rush. And for example, those Tchaikovsky bursts of fourth Tchaikovsky, they really demand your slow mechanical repetition. It's a lot. And earbud can help a lot, or filter. If you can find the filters, yes, definitely
to protect.
Definitely, because 1.5 hours of piccolo can damage ears. So you put, when it's really getting loud, you put it for a couple of minutes just to use the embouchure to get embouchure used to this pressure. That holding very high tones, it's just a muscle or memory. So this is what I can say.
Listen, I have no idea or question. How do you practice the change between, because there are a lot of students that question this thing. How do you practice the change between flute and piccolo? Because sometimes we have to play in the orchestra second flute, and then we have to play the piccolo. How do you do it?
By doing it. Really. Switching in the practice. So this is the another way of practice, not just piccolo, but if you really want to improve switching between piccolo and flute, this also demands attention. Like I take flute, oh, it's cold, I warm up. Or if I take piccolo, first thing I see, oh, it's cold. So first thing is to warm them up. So it will be easier for instrument and for you to understand actually how it should work intonation wise. So always warm up instrument immediately as you can while switching. And of course, this difference between flute and piccolo is drastic, but by doing it and by relaxing, really, like not trying to stress out and squeeze out the sound, but opposite. I call it step back and just observe what is going on. If your sound is getting too thin on flute, of course, it demands different air, not like piccolo. So you should use air more and in a different way because it's basically bigger instrument. With piccolo, it's not flute. It demands really different attention to the position of airstream, like flute, but in a different extent, different amount. So by doing it, by really doing it while practicing. So you take flute, you play this excerpt, 3 minutes, put it down, take piccolo, warm up, and then repeat as much as you can.
Another question, exercises and techniques for double and triple tonguing in piccolo. I think it's also for flute, but...
Any exercise would work. Any exercise, and you will just do the doublons like taga 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 taga, or any Tafanel Gobert with well-known scale game from Michel Debost. When you basically practice every scale, this helped me a lot. It was a marvelous advice and amazing advice from Emmanuel Payou. It was probably the most technically biggest step for me after 1 year of practicing those scales with different articulation, different dynamics, different tempis. To do this for 1 year, it's already enough to really don't care what you have to play on stage. And of course, attention to different to different let's say letters you pronounce while practicing different registers. So sometimes it's lower, like taka, tuku, and up there is a bit more lighter. So where tongue hits also important, and everyone needs to find out different ways to work with different registers. It's not just one unique way, never. It always changes and compensates the flows of instrument.
That very interesting question, this one. What do you think about the C foot joint piccolos?
Very, very designated question. I have some experience. Of course, it demands more attention from me to say more pros and cons, but it's different. I can say that it's different from the D foot piccolo, definitely. Harmonic wise, fingering wise, some things are different. For example, this A trick with the rim, it just works. You put the C sharp key. That's the same. If you have chance to get piccolo with C foot, get it. If you have other chance to have a piccolo without C foot and you like it, also get it. Do not make it your main. This is the advice. Do not make it your main goal to get the C foot or to get the D foot. It just depends. Of course, for piccolo players, probably it's a matter of personal preference. I would use C foot only in case when I really have solo with very loud C down there, then yes. Because otherwise I can still manage even C sharp and even sometimes C with the normal piccolo just by turning it and detuning it.
Great. And the last one, do you do some exercise to train ear and to keep intonation always controlled?
Always. Every time I play, it's an exercise of intonation control. Basically, intonation, in my feeling that I'm getting close to understand how it works, but never reach. But I think the most important is never stop paying attention how in tune as a piccolo player you must be. Of course, sometimes you're right and it doesn't sound right because something is wrong, right? But I think adjusting and reacting is our wonderful ability to be really agile, very fast in changing and adjusting. That's why I think this is most exciting and challenging thing about piccolo, that most of the time you need to be this, the diamond, it shines, right? But this shine it's just the sunlight which reflected this sunlight. Diamond, yeah, nice, good, expensive, it looks wonderful and everybody loves it, but because of the sunlight which is reflected. And I think this is how piccolo important, because it gives huge contrast between very deep sound and this, so to say, shiny sun dust on top.
Nice reflection to finish the interview, I think. Diamonds and everything is very, very nice.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. I don't know if you want to say something to the people, or I don't know. If you want.
I want to thank you. Thank you, Juan, for inviting me. I wish that everyone who will listen will have a nice time, be healthy, and thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And remember, subscribe, comment, like, and all these things. Follow Egor. And thank you so much, Egor, for this time and for this interview.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.